afternoon. I am out of quarantine, as you can see from the scenery behind me. I have just gone for a walk to get some fresh air. Sorry if I keep looking down, the ground is like a bit uneven and a bit muddy, and I'm not really wearing mud appropriate footwear. However, I really just wanted to get a little bit of the outside and some fresh air after being in quarantine for so long. I actually think I'm probably the best suited to quarantine person that I know. Like, I really don't mind being told that I can't leave the house for a while and just being shut up with my books and my camera, my video editing software. I'm perfectly happy doing those things, but it is, of course, super nice to be out and about. Got a negative test through this morning. I spent the morning editing yesterday's video, which is kind of my morning routine now, just getting up, doing the video editing, and then doing something else in the afternoon by the time it's done. I start my job in a week on Monday, so I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna continue effectively with Vlogmas when I don't have the day to do my editing on that, but we will cross that bridge when we come to it. The plan for this afternoon is, oh, look, such a lovely day. The plan for this afternoon is to go into town and do a little bit of book shopping, because I don't think I've been to a bookshop since like before COVID, and I really just want to go and have a browse, potentially get some presents for people, potentially get myself a new book. I spent lunch having a really lovely long leisurely chat with Tom's mum. We just have so much in common. Like, we were chatting about yoga, about journaling, about reading. I'm also going to go to the library to drop a book back off for her and to pick up a couple of books that she would like to get out of the library, so that's part of the afternoon's plan too. Journaling wise, the prompt for today was grace, which is, I think, in many ways quite a nebulous prompt, and will undoubtedly mean different things to different people. One second. I can see a really gorgeous looking tree and a sunny spot. I'm just going to go over there to talk about grace because it feels very fitting. So grace is a prompt which is really special to me because I kind of see grace as my core personal value, and I think that's because it's such a nebulous word in many ways that I can kind of fit everything that I want to underneath it as an overarching term. But to me, one of the main things that it makes me think of is something that my ballet teacher used to say, which was that when you're doing ballet, you're a steel fist in a velvet glove. And I really like that as just a metaphor for how to be as a person in general. So I kind of interpret that as being somebody who has an inner strength and quiet confidence, but who presents this to the world in a way which is gentle. And that is, just something that I try and live by. The first of the two prompts was thinking about, is there a way that I can exhibit this quality of softness yet strength in a more effective way in life, which for me is really just being better at saying no. And I think something I really want to do better at as well is responding to gut feelings of right and wrong quickly in the moment, kind of like gracious refusal, and just politely saying that I don't think things are a good idea or that I don't want to do things. I'm a lot better at going away and reflecting on it, and then I might even have the courage to come back and say, oh, that thing you were talking about on Thursday, I don't feel like it's a good idea because of XYZ, but then often it's kind of too late by that point, so I want to be better at doing that more quickly. The second part of the prompt was thinking about forgiveness, which I think is also something else that I put under the kind of wide category of grace. Just thinking about, is there somebody in my life that I need to forgive, or do I need to forgive myself for something? I feel super lucky because I honestly can't think really of anybody in my life who I kind of feel like I'm holding a grudge against and need to forgive. So I guess it's always helpful to forgive yourself for the things that you get frustrated at yourself for. So I put about forgiving myself just for all the times where I haven't got as much done as I wanted to get done, or I didn't live up to some standard that I'd set for myself. I think it is weirdly surprisingly helpful to just kind of say, I forgive myself. Those are my thoughts on Grace. Let's get ourselves into town and do some book shopping. Good evening. I had a lovely afternoon out shopping. I didn't buy any books for myself in the end. I kind of considered about half of the bookshop, but ultimately I've asked for quite a few books for Christmas anyway, and I already have so many books that I own that I haven't read that I thought it was easiest just to not buy anything new. But I did manage to get a couple of presents for people, which I'm really happy about, so it was a worthwhile trip out. I've just had dinner, and given that the theme for today was Grace, I thought this would be a good opportunity to do some ballet, because I think another one of the reasons that Grace is like my core personal value is just because I have such a deep connection with ballet. Like, I did it loads and loads and loads growing up. I just absolutely adore it. I think it's such a beautiful and moving and emotional art form, and when I dance I feel free and elated and truly myself in a way which is hard to replicate. I've really struggled with exercise ever since I stopped doing dance regularly, so like basically since I left university, and I think that honestly the way back into exercising regularly for me is to just get into the habit of doing ballet classes by myself at home rather than trying to get into like running or tennis or stuff like that, which I think I'm just not that interested in. So I'm going to do a bit of a ballet class by myself this evening. I've just found one on YouTube. I follow a Russian ballerina, she's called Maria Khorova. I will link the video down below that I'm doing. She is, well, an absolutely incredible dancer, but she also has quite a lot of good like ballet-based exercise videos on YouTube, which I do sometimes, and I find her a really good instructor. I really like that she just gets on with it. Like, I struggle with YouTube exercise videos that involve a lot of chatting. Speaking of not chatting and just getting on with it, I'm gonna do some ballet now.
And then we go, and a 1, and a 2, and a 3, and a 4. Both knees to the side, so she can down.
I just finished that ballet class that I did with Maria Khorova, and it was amazing. It was so good. I highly recommend if you're someone who has done like a fair amount of ballet before. It was a really good level of class in that like the exercises weren't too complicated to pick up, so I could pick them up my first time round, but they were also challenging enough that like, I really think I could repeat that class a lot of times. Like I could do that class every day. And she doesn't do too much kind of like explaining or talking while she's doing the exercises in a way that would make it frustrating to rewatch the class multiple times. So yeah, it was just brilliant. Like, I'm so unfit. Every time I do exercise, I realise how unfit I am. And it's always a bit depressing because there's stuff that used to be quite easy for me that now I just can't do. However, I really, really enjoyed that as a form of exercise. Like I just get so in flow when I do ballet and I feel so happy. So that was a really lovely thing to do today. Must do better at doing that more often. I am going to sign off here for today. I think it is like 8:30. I'm just gonna read my book and go to sleep. Yeah, I think that's the plan. Thank you ever so much for watching. I hope that you're doing